NBC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's too warm for it to snow, but it's close. 35 degrees, 3 degrees above freezing. Wintry mix. Well, to honor the memory of those slain in Connecticut Friday, the NFL has paid tribute at every site today. So let's join the PA announcer here, John Rook.
Ladies and gentlemen, on Friday, the nation experienced a horrific tragedy when a shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut, resulted in the deaths of 26 innocent people, including 20 children. At this time, please stand and join in a moment of silent reflection as we light a flare for each of the victims. Thank you. Fans, please remain standing as we now honor America. Presenting the colors, veterans from the Boston Police Honor Guard. And performing our national anthem, please welcome George Komsky.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Kickoff moments away. Right now, let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, as the San Francisco defense prepared to face Tom Brady this week, they had a useful resource in safety Dante Whitner, who spent his first 5 NFL seasons with the Buffalo Bills and faced Brady 10 times. But when I asked Whitner, were you the advice guy this week for the defense? He said, yeah, but so was Randy Moss, who played 3 seasons with Tom Brady. On the team flight from San Francisco to Boston on Friday night, Whitner and other members of the defense sat with Moss and watched tape of 2 Patriots games. Whitner told me Moss was able to point out things like where Brady likes to go with the football in certain situations. And they spent a good amount of time looking at the Patriots' empty formations. Whitner told me we picked up some tips. Hopefully it helps us out. And Al, Moss wants to be helpful to the offense as well. He is starting at wide receiver tonight in place of the injured Mario Manningham.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And his San Francisco 49ers are atop the division, but Seattle winning again today, 9-5. So the 49ers would have only a half-game lead if they lose tonight, and those two teams meet on Sunday Night Football in Seattle next week. Meanwhile, In the AFC, Houston holds the number 1 seed at the moment, winning today over Indianapolis. And then there's Denver and New England. They would each be 11-3, and New England would have beaten Denver head-to-head, so they would own the tiebreak and would wind up as the number 2 seed if the season ended today, which of course you know it doesn't. San Francisco has won the toss. They deferred, so we're going to see Brady right off the bat. Devin McCourty is back to return the kick for New England. Division leaders, good battle. 49ers coming across the country, and off we go on Sunday Night Football. McCourty from the 2-yard line. And good special teams coverage by the 49ers as Tom Brady comes out to lead the Patriot offense against this San Francisco defense.
Ray McDonald, the University of Florida.
Isako Sopoama, Hawaii.
Justin Smith, Missouri. Ahmad Brooks, UVA.
Navarro Bowman, Penn State.
Patrick Willis, Ole Miss.
Alden Smith, the University of Missouri.
Carlos Rogers, Auburn University.
Dante Whitner, the Ohio State. Deshaun Golson, Washington.
Terrell Brown, DBU, University of Texas.
Number 2 defense overall and allowed the fewest points in the league, the 49ers at this point, as Brady begins with a quick flip out to the left side. And the catch is made by Brandon Lloyd. Over the last 7 games, 19 touchdowns, 1 interception a couple of weeks ago in Miami. And they go no huddle here. Quicken the pace right off the bat, as they do. And Stephen Ridley loses the ball. And the 49ers are there, but now the ball's still loose at the 17. Signal that they have it. They'll unpile, and we'll see who, with Ed Hockley, the referee, right there, so signaling that San Francisco has recovered. So in these conditions, on the second play of the game, Ridley puts it on the ground, and Navarro Bowman recovers. Was he down is the question.
Yes.
He was.
Yes,
so you have,
was.
well, you don't even have to challenge it. Everything gets reviewed in terms of a turnover. So it's being reviewed upstairs, and Belichick does not have to challenge. He's going to wind up, I think, retaining the ball anyway. And the crowd now sees it, and you hear their reaction.
The elements a factor already out here, Al. It has been raining steadily. It's cold. It's a difficult night to handle the football. And, of course, Stephen Ridley has had a few issues in the past, last season, hanging on to the ball. He's going to do the spin move, hit there, and now backside on the ground, ball comes out. But it gives you some idea of how slippery this ball is, and this is as fresh as the footballs are going to be.
He's fumbled 3 times this year. This would have been number 4, but for the moment, the Patriot defense is back on the sideline. They figure to win this review, and that would make it a 3rd down and 1 if the ball comes back to where the tackle was made. The Patriots, the number 1 offense in the league, leading the league in yards, leading the league in points, 36.3 a game, and the 49ers allowing only 14 points per game. It's the 7th time since 1970, when the AFL and NFL merged. You've had this matchup in week 12 or later. And in the 6 prior meetings, the number 1 offense has beaten the number 1 defense 4 of 6.
And the thing you have to do against this Patriots team and Tom Brady is really survive the first quarter. You know, Houston couldn't do it last week, but 1,168 yards for Brady passing in the first quarter. There's nobody even close to that number.
So Brady staying warm. Here comes Hockley to give the ball back to New England.
The runner was down before the ball came loose. It is New England. It will be 3rd and 1 on the 25-yard line. Please reset the clock to 14:32. 14:32 on the clock. Thank you. 14:32.
Brady in the offense. Back out. Now the Patriots on 3rd or 4th and 1. Best in the league. Brady sneaks for a first down a lot of the time, so you keep that in mind here on 3rd and 1.
Hard to imagine, but Tom Brady is one of the best third down backs there is in the National Football League. He just has a knack for it. I'm sure you'll see San Francisco piled up over the center, Ryan Wendell.
And Hockley winds the clock, and here we go on 3rd down and 1. And he hands the ball off to Ridley, who gets tackled in the backfield by Navarro Bowman. Willis and Bowman are tremendous in the middle. Willis and Bowman are tremendous in the middle. Meanwhile, NBC News will now take you to the president speaking in Newtown, Connecticut. And on CNBC and the NBC Sports Network, we continue our coverage as there's a 3-and-out for New England, and Zoltan Mesko sends it into the mist. Ted Ginn Jr. from the 29-yard line brings the ball back out to the 38-yard line. And let's take a look at the San Francisco offense.
Colin Kaepernick, Nevada.
Frank Gore, the U.
Bruce Miller, Central Florida. Michael Crabtree, Texas Tech.
Randy Moss, Rand University.
Vernon Davis, University of Maryland.
Joe Staley, Central Michigan University.
Mike Upati, Idaho. Jonathan Goodwin, University of Michigan.
Alex Boone, The Ohio State University.
Anthony Davis, Rutgers.
Colin Kaepernick, second year out of Nevada, begins with play action on 1st down and throws, and that's caught by Michael Crabtree. Having an outstanding season, very close to a 1st down, and it is. He gets 10.
Well, this is going to be one of the great matchups tonight on the outside. You've got Crabtree going against Aqib Talib, the new acquisition for this Patriots defense, and no fear whatsoever on the part of the 49ers. Come right out throwing the football with Colin Kaepernick.
Crabtree, their leading receiver. They bring the rookie A.J. Jenkins into the game. He was their #1 draft choice. And we might see a lot of him tonight as Kaepernick takes the snap and hits Crabtree. And Crabtree takes the ball to the New England 39-yard line. So a hot start. Vernon Davis throws a nice block. 1st down, San Francisco, gain of 13.
One of the things that's so exciting about Crabtree is after he makes the catch. One of the great runners with the football afterwards. That time they motioned Vernon Davis out. Really don't even block Steve Gregory, and he eludes him. Pick up the 1st down.
68 catches this season for Crabtree. Now Kaepernick lined up in what they call the pistol. The short shotgun formation, taking the snap, faking the handoff, buying time, zings it over the middle, and that is caught by Randy Moss for a 1st down. Popped by Talib. Moss and Bill Belichick this week, a mutual admiration society in the press. Randy talking about his years here.
And this is going to impress more than anything else. Randy Moss, if he's known for anything, it's the deep ball, not necessarily going over the middle and taking shots like that. He's back here in New England where he had one of the greatest years we've ever seen a wide receiver have. 23 touchdown catches in 2007.
Mayo coming in for the second smack. 3 plays, 3 1st downs. From the 27, a little toss to Gore. Tries to get around the corner and is taken out of bounds after a gain of about 4. Let's take a look at the New England defense.
Rob Ninkovich, Purdue University.
Vince Wilfork, University of Miami.
Kyle Love, Mississippi State. Chandler Jones, Syracuse University.
Gerard Mayo, Tennessee.
Brandon Spikes, Florida.
Dante Hightower, The University of Alabama.
Aqib Talib, North Dallas, Texas.
Steve Gregory, Syracuse University.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers. Alfonso Dillon, University of Nebraska.
Defense has been improving. Kaepernick back and slings it out to the rookie LaMichael James, who made his debut last week. The ball is loose. Hightower comes up with the football. Hockley is right there, but he says incomplete.
Very interesting. Hightower sort of stripped that ball on the way down, and did that ball actually hit the ground? It's all of a sudden you saw Hightower spin out of there, and he kind of had the ball in his hand. Yeah, there it is. One bounce.
Yep.
Very good call. Well, this thing has energy right from the start, doesn't it?
You bet. And a lot of it from that San Francisco offense. 3rd and 7.
That play is not challengeable. By rule, it cannot be challenged. There is no timeout or challenge charge. It's 3rd down.
Well, the crowd is booing, but there's nothing to challenge. The ball hit the ground. And Harbaugh says reset the play clock.
Tell you, Kaepernick with that 94-mile-an-hour fastball that he had when he was a baseball pitcher is showing up. He said he had no problems with the elements, and so far we're seeing that tonight. He's slinging it.
Making his 5th start, took over for Alex Smith before the Monday nighter against Chicago. And the pass to the end zone is caught by Randy Moss for a touchdown. So a perfect beginning as the 49ers come in. The defense creates a 3-and-out, and the offense marches down the field in 2:40, going 63 yards in 6 plays, a 24-yard touchdown pass to Randy Moss.
As soon as the safety slides to the middle of the field, Colin Kaepernick knows he's going to have Randy Moss one-on-one on the outside. And bingo, what an impressive drive that was by Colin Kaepernick. And for Randy Moss, takes the huge hit early on, then shows the speed for the touchdown. Welcome home, Randy Moss.
156 career touchdown catches for Moss, second only to Jerry Rice and his 197. Now Akers for the point after. And we've played 4 minutes, 5 seconds. And San Francisco leads 7-0. It is one of the more fascinating stories in the NFL, in a year of fascinating stories. The fact that Harbaugh would make the move to go with Kaepernick and take Alex Smith out after Smith had a concussion. But when he got healthy, Kaepernick was still the guy.
Well, and you know, Alex Smith has a 104 quarterback rating that might end up being the best in the National Football League. He's 7 passes short of qualifying. So you've got a guy who's statistically one of the leaders in the NFL, and yet there are so many things that Colin Kaepernick can do. You know, the strong arm we've already seen on that drive. We haven't even really seen his running ability yet.
He has a 50-yard touchdown run in each of the last 2 games. He was drafted by the Chicago Cubs, but opted to play football. And a little look at that arm of his that, as you mentioned before, was throwing fastballs at better than 90 miles per hour in high school in Turlock, California.
But how about the start of this game? You're thinking, okay, Tom Brady and the Patriots are going to come out throwing the ball. The 49ers are going to come out running the ball. And yet it's the 49ers who come right out with the big plays and get it right in the end zone.
Right, and Bill Belichick, who every time he wins the toss defers. One of the reasons he does that is he likes to end the first half with the ball and then get the ball to start the second half. Tonight, the 49ers deferred, did their job defensively. Now the 49ers will get the second half kickoff. At the goal line, Devin McCourty. Out to the 25-yard line. And let's take a look at the Patriot offense.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Stephen Ridley, Louisiana State University.
Wes Welker, Texas Tech.
Brandon Lloyd, Illinois.
Aaron Hernandez, Florida. Michael Holmnow, Illinois. Nate Solder, Colorado.
Logan Mankins, Fresno State.
Ryan Wendell, Fresno State. Dan Connolly, Southeast Missouri.
Sebastian Ballmer, University of Houston.
And again, as Michelle reported earlier, Mo Gronkowski again broken forearm. There's some question as to whether he could or couldn't. Not active tonight. We'll see about next week when they go to Jacksonville. And Brady throws on first down and back shoulder to Lloyd. Down the sideline he goes to make the catch. Got position on Terrell Brown, and it's a first down on a gain of 23.
First of all, on the outside, here's where the matchup's going to take place, working against Terrell Brown for the big play. But watch Aldon Smith coming on the outside. 19.5 sacks already this season. And Nate Solder knows he's going to have his hands full.
3 shy of Michael Strahan's record of 22.5. And Brady hit as the ball comes out. And that is Smith with those 19.5 sacks and almost at 20.5. But Brady's arms coming forward.
The process of passing the ball. Therefore, it does not matter what direction the ball goes. He was attempting to pass it forward. Second down.
Well, Nate Solder's had some issues with his left side, the oblique, and that was close to a sack fumble for Aldon Smith that time.
2nd and 10 now from the 48. Patriots going no huddle to give the ball to Stephen Ridley, who's on pace to gain better than 1,300 yards on the ground this season. Gain of 2, 3rd and 8 from midfield.
Well, and for Ridley, now you know that it's in his head. You know, you get out here in the elements, you fumble the football early, and one of the things that you have to do with this offense is establish a run against the San Francisco 49ers, and that will be no easy task.
That's Danny Woodhead now flanking Brady. He comes in on 3rd down. On 3rd and 8. Everybody into the pattern, and then Brady has to get away from Aldon Smith just to release it. So Smith with 2 near sacks on that series, and the Patriots to punt again.
Well, credit Justin Smith this time. He's going to set the hook, and then Aldon Smith is going to loop back inside. That was Justin Smith basically grabbing the shoulder pad of Logan Mankins to give Aldon Smith a chance for that sack, and those two worked beautifully together.
Beecham went to the University of Missouri. Here's Mesko's second punt of the night, and the fair catch is called for and made at the 9-yard line by Ginn. 9:48 remaining in the opening quarter, 7-0. Smith in his second season. Strahan set the mark over a decade ago, so he would need, Smith would, 3 in 3 games to tie. Meanwhile, J.J. Watt had 3 today for Houston, so he has 19.5 as well.
What an incredible battle it is between those two second-year players going for the Defensive MVP award. I guess you throw Von Miller into the mix as well. 3 guys taken just 2 years ago.
Brady huddles with McDaniels. 49ers now from the 8-yard line. After they went 63 yards in 6 plays on their opening drive. Frank Gore. And Chris, so much you can do out of the formation they line up in.
Yeah, it really is. And because they can run power with Frank Gore, they've got LaMichael James back there. They can do it. You can see all the different looks. And then you have a running quarterback, and Colin Kaepernick, that you mentioned, has had 50-yard runs in the last 2 ball games. It's a tough team to try and defend, especially for the Patriots coming on a short week after playing on Monday Night Football.
2nd down and 6. And then they hand it off to Gore. Love the design of some of these plays because you just don't see it that much, and they can do so much now with Kaepernick. And as you say, you know, I mean, what does the scout team do? Who plays Kaepernick if you're the opposition?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is sort of sleight of hand, if you will. Of course, we all think of Oregon, Chip Kelly, some of that look and that offense. And every week now we're seeing something new out of the 49ers.
3rd and 1. And the ball's on the ground. So a fumbled snap. And Hockley comes in, and the 49ers retain possession. But because of the conditions, because of the light rain and the frost and all of that, we've already seen the ball on the ground a couple of times.
Oh, what a quick move by Justin Francis right here. Going to jump right around or between Alex Boone and Jonathan Goodwin and nearly create the equalizing turnover here.
Andy Lee, one of the best in the league to punt. Wes Welker will return it. They had Julian Edelman back there much of the season, but he is on injured reserve right now. So Welker assumes that role. There's a flag down at the outset of the play, and Welker for the moment brings the ball back to the 45-yard line. Tackled by Bowman.
During the kick, holding by the receiving team, number 59. A 10-yard penalty is enforced from where the punt was caught. New England keeps the ball after enforcement. 1st down.
That is Mike Rivera. How tough has New England been in the second half of seasons since the beginning of 2010? 21 consecutive wins, winning games by an average of 20 points. Brady, I mean, that's just otherworldly 54 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. So they won their last 8 in 2010, their last 8 last season, their first 5 this season. The last time the Patriots lost a second half of the season game at Houston to end the 09 season, the day that Wes Welker tore up his knee and his career looked to be in jeopardy. Turned out otherwise. Shane Vereen is the running back. Play action. Brady has time. Brady going deep into double coverage, and it's intercepted. The 49ers with Carlos Rogers. Out past his 40. Rogers into New England territory. Carlos Rogers with one man to beat, and it's Brady who saves the touchdown. Wes Welker, the intended receiver, and Rogers is going to be a busy man tonight covering the slot man with an interception and a great return.
See if Wes Welker here thinks he got held and almost tried to signal it to the official. Slowed down a bit. Carlos Rogers did not. The 49ers have been in their nickel defense from the beginning here, which moves Rogers inside that matchup with Welker, a huge one tonight. See, he thinks he gets held. He wants to signal it to the referee. See, like he's just going to say, hey, he's holding me, but he slows down, and Rogers just kept on going.
From the 5 on 1st and goal. Kaepernick throwing, and that is incomplete. Tom Brady, in the first game played here this season when they played Arizona the second week, his first pass was intercepted. He had not had a pass intercepted in this stadium since that day. Had thrown 230 straight without a pick.
But you know, the pressure that was being put on him by Aldon Smith may have hurried Tom Brady up a little bit and made him get it out just a little before he saw Wes Welker open down the field.
He's going to see a lot of 99 tonight, you get the feeling. 2nd down and goal from the 5. Kaepernick to the outside, and that'll be caught inside the 5 by Walker, and that ball is loose. Hit by Steve Gregory, picked up by Aqib Talib. And they're going to rule it down back at about the 15-yard line, so this is all for naught right now. And of course it gets reviewed, ruled a turnover on the field, but he was down. But again, the conditions coming into play big time in the first part of the first quarter.
Was it ruled down or a catch and down?
Ruling on the field as the pass was caught, fumbled, and then recovered by New England, and the ball.
So does he have possession and both feet down?
The runner was then down by contact.
And his foot, Talib's foot, hit Delaney Walker, so he will be down by contact.
Again, nothing to challenge here because the ruling on the field is a turnover, so automatically reviewed upstairs, real time.
Sort of caught it and made that little move upfield, and I think that's what they saw. Usually they're pretty quick to call those kinds of plays incomplete, but ruled complete and fumble on the field.
They'll review it. Crowd, of course, sees it with their hearts.
The ruling on the field has been confirmed from the booth. The coaches cannot challenge this play.
You know, how big, though, was the tackle by Brady? You go back, he makes the saving tackle. They come out and throw it 2 straight times and get the ball right back.
Exactly, because Rogers was at the 5-yard line. Brady was the last man who could stop him. At the 11-yard line. The Patriots begin this drive with Ridley chugging his way up to the 16-yard line. Go back to Brady's tackle, the last guy between Rogers and the goal line.
Yeah, and that ends up being one of the plays of the ball game so far, and Brady did a nice job eluding Ray McDonald to be able to stay in the play.
Not classic for him, but it got the job done. That's Ridley for a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down and 3 now for New England with the ball at the 17-yard line.
Well, I tell you, I have a lot of respect for San Francisco's defense, but coming on the road after what we saw last week against Houston by this New England offense, what an impressive start they are having.
Wild beginning to this game. 3rd down and 3. 49ers on top, 7-0 with 6.5 to go in the opening quarter. Blitz coming, and the pass behind Hernandez incomplete. And now back on the NBC network. And while you were away, the New England Patriots were forced to punt. Brady had a pass intercepted by Rodgers and then made a touchdown saving tackle. Then the 49ers turned the ball over with the ball inside the 5-yard line. And now a third punt from Mesco is fielded by Ted Ginn. And Ginn works his way up to the 42-yard line. 6:13 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. For those of you who watch the President in Connecticut on NBC News, here's what happened during that period of time. Randy Moss, the former Patriot, on the receiving end of a 24-yard touchdown pass from Kaepernick to make it 7-0. Then Brady throws this interception to Carlos Rodgers, who has a terrific run back, and Brady makes a touchdown saving tackle. And then on first and goal, you had the turnover here. Here was Brady's tackle of Rodgers to save the touchdown. That would have made it 14-0. Instead, the 49ers turned the ball over. The score is 7-0, and the 49ers have the ball at the 41-yard line, 1st and 10. Well, Michael James is the running back, and the rookie picked in the 2nd round from Oregon runs into his own man and then is able to lurch forward for a gain of about 4.
He adds a dimension outside, doesn't he? You know, now you've got Colin Kaepernick, one of the fastest guys playing the quarterback position, Michael James. Early on this season, they had a package they were trying to put together with Kaepernick and Michael James in there, where they were just going to play him a few series here and there. All of a sudden now, those series are getting bigger and bigger with Kaepernick as a starter.
2nd and 6. Running back is Frank Gore. And again, the ball winds up on the ground. And it's Gore who comes in to cover it up. Second snap under center that Kaepernick has lost. They're better off in the pistol or shotgun formation.
Yeah, especially with Vince Wilfork playing over the nose. This guy right here, enough to intimidate anybody. Just don't come up with the snap. You know, as a center, you have to move quickly with Vince there. And I'll tell you, on a night like this, and you always hear that receivers love this kind of night. I've never bought that. This is a tough night to handle the ball.
Especially for the quarterback. Yeah. 3rd and 10. Snap it at 1 on the play clock. Kaepernick rifles one to the outside off the back shoulder, and that is Michael Crabtree. No, flag comes in as well. He was out of bounds, and a marker thrown at the end of the play.
I think he stepped out of bounds, one of the officials with his hat off, and then the first to touch.
Ed Hockley, no doubt, will have an elongated explanation.
Number 15, offense, was legally pushed out of bounds and was the first to touch the ball. That is a penalty, although it's been declined. Brings up 4th down.
Nice job by Dennard, that last little shove. And defensively, the Patriots needed that. You know, they needed a stop just to kind of get this thing back and settled. So despite the fact that it really feels like the 49ers have had all the momentum here early, it's still just a 7-0 game with Tom Brady ready to take the field again.
And Andy Lee to punt for the 2nd time. Lee's first kick was 56 yards. And they fake it. And this is Goldson, Deshaun Goldson, the safety. And Goldson inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. The 49ers on a 4th and 10 from their own 41, and it's a 31-yard pickup.
Jim Harbaugh is out of control. I didn't even consider it here. Fake punt. They knew coming around the edge there were 2 guys on the outside. Really a pretty secure place, you would think, with 2 guys out there. One of them's going to make the play. You just have to stop him short of 10 yards. Wow,
with Harbaugh, you get anything. 22-6-1 in his 2 years in San Francisco. So he's doing a lot of right stuff. Gore gets stopped at the line of scrimmage. The Niners last year, you all know, came within inches of going to the Super Bowl, losing in overtime to the Giants at Candlestick Park.
Just a couple of issues with a couple of punts, really the difference in that game. This could have very easily have been the Super Bowl matchup.
Could be this season. Second and 10. And the handoff goes to Michael James. And he gets taken out of bounds by the rookie Alfonso Dennard after a short gain. Pickup of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Well, they're having nothing of this. Rob Ninkovich right over here. Watch him. He's going to come down, and every time Kaepernick thinks about pulling this ball out, he's going to take a little shot. Ninkovich just sending the signal. You want to run, big guy? I'm going to be sitting right here for you.
Niners come up with 3 tight ends in this set. On 3rd and 7, ball is handed off to Gore, and he gets to the 21. So they'll come up short of the first down, and in will come the field goal unit. And Akers will try to make it a 10-point lead.
You know, Vince Wilfork, you always have your hands full here. You can think you've got him blocked, but not so much. The spin move to get back out of that one. They left Mayo unblocked on that one. A little confusion on the blocking scheme that time.
Akers has been a little ragged lately. 39-yard attempt. Lee to put it down. And he stays ragged. Akers missing, and it's still 7-0 San Francisco. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest Airlines. You can find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. By Toyota Care, complimentary on every new Toyota. And by McDonald's, I'm loving it. Downtown Boston. About a 45-minute drive from Foxborough. And Tom Brady and company. Brady already a little frustrated. Light rain tonight, temperature in the mid-30s. This is already the 5th possession of the game for New England. And Brady takes this snap out of the shotgun as the drive begins at the 30-yard line. And to the outside, he hits Danny Woodhead out of the backfield for a gain of 7. The Patriots love to go fast. Their offense through week 14, they average 73.3 yards per play, highest average in 17 years. Every 25.3 seconds they snap it. So they have the fastest paced offense in the league. And the 49ers would be the slowest. And that'll slow them down.
Start offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Logan Mankins.
Well, for my money, this is the most interesting matchup of all. These two guys going at it right here. Two just old war horses. Logan Mankins, Justin Smith, both cut from the same cloth, both tough guys. It is going to be a wild battle between those two.
That looked like the beginning of a sumo match. Here's a screen, and busting up the screen and making a great tackle as Woodhead makes the catch is Patrick Willis, and that's one reason he winds up in Honolulu every winter.
Yeah, one of the problems you have whenever you're trying to run a screen is if you have man coverage, it's pretty easy, right? You got that guy, you see him sneaking, you're watching him out the whole way. And Willis, you called it, Al. He's been to the Pro Bowl every single year of his career, and that's a big reason why.
All 5. 49ers first-round pick out of Ole Miss in 07. Brady comes underneath now. Hits Shane Vereen, who loses the ball. And do the 49ers recover before it goes out of bounds? Navarro Bowman created it, and the signal on the field is a turnover and a 49er recovery. Chris Culliver, the corner, recovers again. They'll take a look at this one upstairs.
There's no doubt about it.
The ruling on the field is that San Francisco recovered the ball in bounds, had recovered it before he slid out of bounds. San Francisco ball.
Does he have possession before he slides out of bounds is what they will look at. With a minute to go in the first quarter, 7-0 49ers. Tomorrow it's down to the top three. Who will be the voice? Find out in the two-night live finale tomorrow on Tuesday right here on NBC. Downtown Boston in your frame right there. And of course Ed Hockley is now taking a look at what was ruled a fumble recovery and has been now confirmed. So New England 5 possessions, 1 first down, 3 punts, and 2 turnovers. From the 34-yard line. Kaepernick. Good protection. Going deep and too deep for Vernon Davis, who got free, but led him by inches. Too much. Second down.
I'll tell you what, you have to work hard to overthrow Vernon Davis, one of the faster players in the game. Right out here is going to run right by Steve Gregory. He has no chance. The Patriots came with a blitz, and yet another missed opportunity. Everything seems to be going the way of the 49ers here early, and yet they're not converting. You're on the road against a great team. You have to start taking advantage.
Turnover inside the 5, missed field goal. And they're trying to make this turnover pay off, and Gore gets slammed down after a gain of 9. 25-yard line. That's Dante Hightower, picked in the first round out of Alabama, knocking him to the ground.
Boy, I tell you, Frank Gore's knee got buckled under. Good block in there by Bruce Miller. But watch Frank Gore's knee sort of collapse underneath him and spun around right on it. Very lucky to have survived that one.
8th year for Gore out of Miami. Tremendous career. All-time leading rusher. And this is Gore struggling, trying to pick up that first down. Very close at the 24-yard line.
That was one of the big collisions I've ever seen between a linebacker and a fullback. Holy smokes.
For the moment, Hockley is stopping the clock because they want to measure. And that will be the final play of the quarter because they'll wind it after they measure. That much to go, and they will switch ends of the field. Now what will Harbaugh do?
He's already faked one punt. He's got a great running offense. I've got a guess.
Well, he's going to have a lot of time to think about it because they'll wind the clock and we'll have the break. Another look at the last play.
Watch this. That's a defensive lineman in the game, Will Tukuafu, and Brandon Spikes just... Man, what a collision.
They wind the clock. That'll take us to double zeros. End of 1. Wild quarter. 49ers 7, Patriots nothing. And Sunday Night Football from Foxborough, Mass. continues after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. It's also Friday night's aerial coverage as you look at downtown Boston. When we had clear skies about 48 hours ago. Tonight, of course, a different story, but a beautiful shot right there. And we come back to Foxborough. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. And for the moment, the 49ers will line up to go for it on 4th down and inches.
They have to get the snap here. It's not easy.
And look at this formation. And Kaepernick will try to burrow his way, and the ball is loose again. And they don't get it.
He dropped the snap.
He dropped the snap again. They lined up in a formation you only see at the end of a game. And he drops the snap and they turn the ball over.
Anytime you get those 3 guys submarining inside, there's always a danger, and it happened that time. The center has to snap the ball and try and get down so low that so many times you struggle holding on to the football, and that's exactly what happened there. The threat of those 3 monster defensive linemen in there forced Jonathan Goodwin to take that snap and try and get underneath them, and that's right. Kyle Love, Vince Wilfork, they got it done.
So the 49ers, with so many missed opportunities, and you pointed it out, Chris, I mean, it's a game where it almost has the feeling of like 21-0 San Francisco. Instead, 7-0. Patriots have it at the 25-yard line. Ridley takes the ball to the 23. 6-yard line. Gain of 1.
Well, we talked about the #1 scoring defense in the National Football League, and there is a reason why these guys are simply men across the line. And Aldon Smith coming in, according to Justin Smith, that guy right there, is the big reason why. They had plenty of the big stud guys to stop the run, but they needed that flash player, and they got Aldon Smith, and now this defense is just dynamic.
2nd and 9, Brady swinging to the outside, and that'll be caught by Brandon Lloyd, and then Lloyd with a nice little move after the initial contact to pick up the first down. Breaks away from Terrell Brown to move this change.
The one thing that's happening, though, when Tom Brady goes slot to this side, it forces Aldon Smith, who, remember, is an outside linebacker, to walk out. So the more often that they go into that slot formation towards Aldon Smith, it draws him away from the possibility of rushing Tom Brady.
From the 36-yard line.
Here, no slot that side, so he's right on the end of the line of scrimmage.
That was only New England's second first down of the game. Play action over the middle of the pass is incomplete, intended for Aaron Hernandez. So much of New England's offensive prowess due to the 2 tight ends, but Hernandez and Gronkowski have barely played at the same time this year. One of the others been hurt tonight. It's Gronkowski.
You know, Al, it's a great point, because I really feel like one of the things that the Patriots are missing right now is the ability to go with those 2 tight ends and run the football some. Gronk is so much better a blocker than Aaron Hernandez.
Give it to Woodhead, and Woodhead, who normally is in on 3rd down, comes in on 2nd and 10 here, and finds a big hole over left guard to the 46-yard line. First down. Brady working the no huddle up at the line. And with the Niners closing in, the pass is caught by Danny Woodhead in 49er territory. Brady to Gronkowski, now in his 3rd year. 37 TD passes. That's the most in the NFL over that period of time, and Gronkowski has missed the last month. Has caught 10 touchdown passes this season, and they hope to have him back next week at Jacksonville. 2nd down and 4. And pass is caught by Hernandez. Breaks the tackle and picks up the first down. Broke away from Patrick Willis that time, something you don't see very often.
Man coverage is what you get. Here you go, Patrick Willis against Hernandez. The 49ers probably play more man coverage with their 2 inside linebackers than any team I see in the National Football League.
And now they give the ball to Danny Woodhead. Back to the 35. He goes for a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
And one of the reasons to bring Woodhead into the game, he's the best receiving back that they have. So now you can put him in the backfield or split him out like they're doing here, where he's wide down at the bottom of the screen, and create some matchups that you like.
2nd down and 7. Brady with a ton of time. Going deep over the middle, and it's batted away at the last moment. Intended for Deion Branch, who just rejoined the team. He's looking for a flag and doesn't get it. Brown covering on the play, and he's hurt.
Terrell Brown's going to make a brilliant play reaching over the top. There was all kinds of time, but as Terrell Brown reached around with that left arm, couldn't tell if he got it doing that or when he hit the ground. Just great coverage. Aldon Smith here dropping back in coverage and not coming after the quarterback, and that's a gift for Tom Brady.
Well, Brown got up and he tried to get back into the alignment, and then the trainers came out on the field and said no. So he has to come out for at least one play. You have Parrish Cox, number 20, coming in to spell him. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
But this team substitutes very rarely. They typically play 12 people, and so Parrish Cox really does not get all that much playing time. See if Brady comes after him.
Read him. And Brady going underneath. This is Hernandez, and this time he does not get away from Patrick Willis. He makes the tackle at the 32-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 4, and will the Patriots opt for about a 50-yard field goal attempt here.
There it is again, the man coverage against the very slippery Aaron Hernandez. What an athlete, though, Patrick Willis is. Bill Belichick said that by far he thought he was the best of their cover guys and thought he would end up on Hernandez.
4th and 4, at least they will line up to go for it. Belichick may be thinking about a 50-yard field goal in these conditions. If you miss it, you give the 49ers the ball at the 40-yard line.
54.
And Brady's going to take a timeout. So we looked over the defense. They'll discuss it with 10:59 to go in the half. Too warm to snow. Temperature holding steady at 35 as it has most of the day. Wintry mix. Cold rain. 4th down and 4. New England going for it.
Keep your eye on Danny Woodhead here going against Navarro Bowman in the backfield.
So Brady's left. And then Bowman moves over to the other side now. You've got Welker going in motion. And on 4th and 4, can they convert? Yes, they can. To the 23-yard line, Deion Branch, the longtime Patriot, cut before the season, brought back, cut again, and just brought back again. 1st down.
Well, you're going to get the motion to the outside, and then Branch coming back inside. Just re-signed this week. He's been on and off of this football team probably more than anybody. Comes up huge on that one.
From the 23 on 1st down. To the ground. Give it to Woodhead. And Woodhead doing good work on the ground. Gain of 8. Another reason they may have him in the game is Ridley and Vereen have already fumbled. More sure-handed is Woodhead.
Yeah, and I tell you, he almost buckled the knees of Aldon Smith right here. Watch this one. Woodhead's coming right at him. One of the great athletes completely missed.
And then Woodhead again. So Danny Woodhead has been their key part on this series. Takes it to the 10-yard line. First and goal.
I'm sorry, he's probably the guy that Tom Brady trusts the most. Woodhead, he's a good blocker despite his size, not a big guy at all. Terrific route runner, but most importantly, understands some of the complex looks that the 49ers can give him.
1st and goal from the 10. Call his number again. Gets 3 to the 7-yard line. Tackled there by Justin Smith. 2nd down and goal.
You know, one of the staples of this offense for the Patriots is they love using their tight ends coming across formations, and they call it the wham block. It's one of those counters to so many times you go one direction and the line begins to look for you to come that way. All of a sudden, here comes a tight end the other way and just wipes you out.
WHAM or WAM?
I don't know.
Either or. 2nd and goal. Play action. Brady gets jostled as he throws, and that time you had Rodgers coming in on a blitz who broke up the play. 3rd and goal.
Bring this slot blitz that time coming right here, and inside it's Justin Smith who is getting up the field and really pressing that pocket, not allowing Tom Brady to step into his throws.
3rd and goal. 8:51 to go in the half. 7-0 San Francisco.
Brady knows he's got the man-to-man coverage on Woodhead now, based on that motion.
And now Tom will go down, and that's Ray McDonald, who's really one of the unsung guys on the defense that has Justin Smith and Aldon Smith and Willis and Bowman, who get a lot of publicity, and then you've got Ray McDonald getting the sack here.
Double team inside right there on Wes Welker. Hernandez down the field, double teamed as well, that in and out coverage, so they took away their 2 primary targets. Just singled up on Brandon Lloyd.
32-yard field goal attempt now coming for Gostowski. And Stevens' kick is good. So the Patriots finally get on the board with 8.5 to go in the half. And it's 7-3 49ers. Dan Patrick Show with a new home. This week, Dan will have Tony Dungy, Tiki Barber, Greg Jennings, and Victor Cruz as guests. Weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon on the NBC Sports Network. Cold rain in Massachusetts tonight. Defense doing its job at the end, limiting them to a a field goal at 7-3, and the 49ers to get the ball now as Gostowski will send it down toward James, and the Michael James, the rookie from Oregon, gets taken down at the 21-yard line. Great tackle there by Mike Rivera. 8:26 to go in the half. 7-3 San Francisco. Colin Kaepernick. They moved up in the draft last year to pick him in the second round at the University of Nevada. Threw up some unbelievable numbers. His first start, he loses the game. They scored 67 points to Boise State in 4 overtimes. 2,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, 3 straight seasons when we play our NCAA history. 59 rushing touchdowns with the Wolfpack. From the 20-yard line, Kaepernick pump faking and then buying time and then going deep down the sideline and broken up. Intended for Crabtree, broken up by Talib, and now there's a flag.
Kind of an interesting call. Talib never turned around and really ran through the receiver.
Flag's all the way down at the 43 of New England.
Pass interference, defense, number 31. The ball is placed at the foul. First down.
Crabtree has every right to turn around and come back for the ball. And once Talib turns his head, he's allowed to go back through him and make that play. It's a good call. That's pass interference. I know it makes people crazy, but it is.
From the 45-yard line, it's a 35-yard penalty. And Kaepernick gives it to Gore. Big hole, gain of 8. Kaepernick is a kid who grew up in Wisconsin, and then his family moved to California when he was 4, Turlock, California, in the San Joaquin Valley. He got 1 scholarship offer, 1 for football, Nevada. He was drafted. He was such a good baseball player. The Chicago Cubs drafted him in 2009. Granted, low down in the draft, they only offered him $30,000, but he wanted to play football so badly he took the 1 scholarship offer to Nevada. Second down and 2 from the 37-yard line. He gives it to Gore again. And Gore moving that whole pile to the 34. As a pitcher in high school, take a look at this. Classic form. That left toe down. Pittman High School, 2-time All-State pitcher, but he just loved football.
Yeah, it's interesting. He said, though, that if Nevada had not offered him the 1 football scholarship he was offered, he would have been off to play baseball. He got recruited by big baseball schools with just the 1 football school.
At the 34. And Kaepernick hanging in the pocket. Deep downfield, and it is caught for a touchdown by Delaney Walker. The rookie Dennard covering on the play, and Walker, who turned the ball over earlier, this time the recipient of a 34-yard Kaepernick pass to put the 49ers up 13-3.
Well, Vernon Davis was running up the seam, and Dennard just sort of bit on him long enough. Let's see if Kaepernick sort of looks down the middle of the field. He does to Vernon Davis and gets Dennard just enough inside. And then that 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And I tell you what, this crowd is stunned after what they saw last week against Houston. The assumption was Patriots are on their way to another Super Bowl.
They're number 1 in almost every power poll this week. 49ers have other ideas. Akers converts. Less than 7 to go in the half. 14-3 San Francisco. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl or text Pro Bowl to MyNFL, and you can send your favorite player to the Pro Bowl. Send your favorite announcers as well, but we're already signed up for it.
Too late.
Yeah, or you can join Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest NFL news.
We are playing golf in Hawaii regardless of for whom they vote.
Yeah, we don't care. 14-3, the kick is fielded at the 2-yard line by Devin McCourty. And he gets tackled at the 18-yard line. 6:54 to go in the half, and San Francisco up by 11 on the road. So that Niner defense, Aldon Smith right there, again 19.5 sacks, 3 shy of Michael Strahan's NFL record. A couple of near sacks tonight. Brady takes over at the 18. Ridley is the running back. And Ridley plows forward for a gain of 4. Whitner is in on the stop. It'll be second down and 6.
And now instead of Gronkowski being in there, they're still going to try and run it a little bit. Michael Omenawinui, number 47, the blocking tight end, checked into the game, and they also have Daniel Fells in there now, so they're going to try and play a little power football or maybe play action off of a run look.
I'm proud of you.
I just tried to try it.
Second down and 6. Brady throws, and that's in and out of the hands of Brandon Lloyd. 3rd and 6 upcoming.
Fred Cadelli, Drew Essekoff introduced this tracer thing, and it's been fun to watch this season. Just this throwing motion. I don't see this 90-degree angle very often. Usually you get a big loop of a throwing motion regardless of who it is. No wonder he gets the ball out of there so quickly.
Louis. 3rd down and 6. Woodhead in the backfield with Brady. Niners showing blitz for the moment. They don't blitz very often. Second least in the league. Show it again. Brady lets that clock go all the way down. Just gets it off. It's a 4-man rush, and the pass is low and incomplete. Intended for Brandon Lloyd. So the 49er defense creates a 3-and-out. Patriots tonight are 0 for 7 on 3rd down tonight.
Come this way and drop out this way. Just the old Pittsburgh Steelers fire zone. And Brady read it pretty well, just didn't get the completion.
Here's Mesko's punt. Niners doing the job defensively. Patriots number 1 in the league in converting 3rd downs coming into the game tonight.
So impressive what the 49ers are doing on defense.
And Mesko's kick is a line drive duck. Is it touched? That before. Yes, we have in the playoffs last year. Was it touched is the question. And the Patriots think they have it at the 30-yard line. And we all know what happened last year with Kyle Williams in the NFC Championship game, costing the 49ers a shot at the Super Bowl. And this was Ginn. Does he touch it is the question.
I don't know.
Spinning.
Oh, I tell you, that's hard to see from that angle. It looked like the other way.
Marquise Cole would have recovered it if that is the case. Now the officials are huddling, and the ruling has not been announced yet. It doesn't look like it touches him on that angle.
The other one is the one I think they're going to.
It's so similar to that Kyle Williams play in the playoffs last year. We had to look at it about 8 times to figure out if he grazed it, even if it just grazes him.
That ball looks like, it's so hard to tell, is it just the bounce or did it get diverted
During
off?
the kick, holding by the receiving team, by the kicking team, number 57.
All right, that's the first part of it. Now what?
Holding by the kicking team, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, you got, first of all, he said 57. There is no 57 for starters. The ball is spinning so oddly, it's almost impossible to tell if it touches him or not.
Boy, if it didn't,
Crazy.
It went right around the bend. Mr. Official, what would you call it? Do you see it touch him?
It doesn't look like he touched it. And again, it goes back to the play in the playoffs last year. After you looked at it enough times, you could see where it did touch Williams. And Hockley will gather the forces. The entire law firm is out there right now. So if he doesn't touch it, the 49ers get the ball where it was down.
Man, is that close.
But again, you're going to need, of course, the phrase you've heard 18 million times, the irrefutable visual evidence. All right, here comes Hockley with the call, the initial call.
The ball was illegally touched, but it was also then recovered by the kicking team. However, there was a holding by the receiving team, number 57. That penalty will be enforced from the previous spot. And we'll replay 4th down.
By the receiving team or by the kicking team?
He said originally the kicking, then he said the receiving team.
I think he's going to have to redo that announcement.
I think so too. Because originally the call was holding on the kicking team, then it's holding on the receiving team. And we're trying to figure out where the illegal touch happens as well. What's the illegal touch here? This?
Yeah, that's the illegal touch, I believe, just when they recover the ball down the field. Wow.
And then Belichick's going to take the challenge flag out, at least for the moment. That's why the crowd is responding. The illegal touch after the ball passed Ginn.
New England is challenging the ruling on the field that the ball was not touched, and therefore that the recovery was illegal. If the ball was touched first by the receiving team, it would be a legal recovery by New England down there.
We have nothing to add. We're just going to go to commercial and give you a break here. Back after this. Well, Hockley has reviewed it. He's discussing it. This has taken forever. We've had all kinds of announcements, issues, a holding call. Not sure whether it's the kicking team or the receiving team.
I'll tell you the other part of it. Bill Belichick was not going to throw that flag after what happened to Jim Schwartz. He held on and asked questions.
Right. Ed charging $1,000 an hour at his law firm.
The ruling on the field stands as called. However,
please, ladies and gentlemen,
the force in which the ball legally recovered by New England because the ball was not touched by San Francisco. There will be a 10-yard penalty against the receiving team at that spot, and San Francisco will keep the ball first.
Well, the crowd doesn't want to hear anymore. The one part you did hear him say was that the ball was not touched by Ginn. So you go back, we've looked at this a number of times, and that's the ruling in terms of this part of the play.
Yeah, and then the hold had to have been on the receiving team because they're going to take that back from the point of the downing.
Again, we talked about the championship game, and this turned out to be a turnover because Kyle Williams could not get out of the way.
Of course, they could not advance it at that point, but they could recover it.
Turned out to be a gigantic play, and then you had a fumble in overtime by Williams. And you know the rest of the story. The Giants, in case you haven't heard, went to Indianapolis and won the Super Bowl.
49ers going to quit putting return men back there.
Especially on a night like tonight. So Kaepernick's going to come out. The offense will take over. It's about as lengthy a delay as I can recall. And now Belichick wants to know where the ball is going to get spotted.
Now everybody's mad. Both head coaches don't like this spot.
The hold was on the 49ers. That's the one thing we can clear up right now. It was on Michael Wilhoit. So it was on the 49ers. Hockley's trying to address the crowd again, but his mic's not working.
The spot should have been marked off from where it was first touched by the Patriots.
Exactly.
Seems like that thing is back pretty far.
So both coaches are arguing the case.
New England has charged a timeout for the challenge.
Well, that's just cleaning up the back end of the challenge. What about where the ball is? And you're right. They're going to mark they mark it off from where it was recovered, so the ball's going to go to the 22-yard line, at least for the moment, until it is heard in the Court of Appeals.
The ball was touched initially and kicked backwards, so I think they got the benefit of kicking it backwards themselves. Maybe not.
Well, play resumes after a week and a half. The ball's at the 22-yard line. 14-3 San Francisco, and Kaepernick gets flushed out. He's great on the run. He throws against the grain, and the pass is incomplete. Steve Gregory comes in to break up the play, intended for Crabtree. Kaepernick taking over. There is Alex Smith, who guided this team almost into the Super Bowl last year, was having a very good season. Suffered a concussion, and then when he was ready to go, Harbaugh made the change anyway to Kaepernick in the Monday night game against Chicago, and it's been Kaepernick's team since. 2nd and 10. Inside handoff goes to Frank Gore. Gore up to the 28-yard line, tackled there by Brandon Spikes. Gain of 7. It'll be 3rd and 3.
Frank Gore just so slippery inside. Here's a big Wilfork inside. Got the double team, having a little trouble keeping his footing. And if you can move Vince, you know you've accomplished something. But Gore tough to bring down.
Mike Iupati needs some attention. Sunday Night Football brought to you by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. By Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation that excites. And by Microsoft Surface. In 2008, the Hall of Patriot Place here in Gillette Stadium. Chronicling the history of this organization. Iupati out, Davis comes in at left guard. Injuring his shoulder. It's 3rd down and 3. And Kaepernick is flushed out. Throws, and it's caught. Crabtree makes the catch, stays in bounds, picks up a little extra yardage out in front of the 49er bench at the 37-yard line.
Here's the difference. Here's why Colin Kaepernick is in the game. Going to come with a blitz. Everybody coming inside. They've got issues. He's able to escape around and find Crabtree, who has been Mr. 3rd down for the 49ers. Came into the game with 17 third down conversions. The whole rest of the team had 20, but Kaepernick's the one that made that play.
Kaepernick 7 out of 12 for 108 yards. And he's such a running threat, but we haven't seen that aspect yet tonight. Sooner or later we will. Meanwhile, who needs a running threat when you have Frank Gore taking the ball into Patriot territory to the 48. All-time leading rusher in San Francisco history through some lean seasons. And now, of course, with one of the best teams in the league, still going very strong in his 8th year in the league.
I'll tell you, Frank Gore, 6 times over 1,000 yards, that time running behind Leonard Davis, former Cowboy in for Mike Iupati.
From the 48. Give it to Gore again. It's a hard-earned 2 yards. Tackled there by Dante Hightower. As we tick down to 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Gore is one of the most patient backs you'll see. Watch the little jump cut. He's just going to take his time. Dedrick was in the hole and turns it into something there. But Al, doesn't it feel like the pace of this game? We had the fastest paced team in the Patriots against the slowest paced team in the 49ers, and the pace has definitely favored the 49ers in this.
No doubt, and a lot of missed opportunities for the 49ers. It's 14-3. It could be a lot worse for the Patriots. 2nd and 8. And that pass is caught for a first down, and that's Vernon Davis. And Davis will cut it back the other way, and then he almost gives up the first down. It's tackled to the 37-yard line. 1st and 10.
Well, that time they caught the Patriots with their linebackers in man coverage. Here's Brandon Spikes going to work against Vernon Davis right here, and that is not a good matchup. Vernon Davis ran about a 4.3 something at the combine, and of course Brandon Spikes not nearly that fast. Big, strong, athletic. Only had 3 catches in the last 3 games, and it was so much a part of the conversation in San Francisco this week. Where has Vernon Davis been? Had the big shot early, missed it. Working back to him now.
Kaepernick's been targeting Crabtree a lot. First down, they just do get the playoff. And Kaepernick in the pocket, deep downfield, incomplete, intended for Vernon Davis. 2nd and 10 for San Francisco.
Maybe an opportunity here for Kaepernick to put a little air underneath this. So many times young quarterbacks with big, strong arms, they want to show it off and throw that good line drive in there. Had an opportunity instead of putting a little air underneath this one and letting the faster man run. That line drive just went over his head.
2nd and 10. It's Jenkins, their top draft choice, wide right. It's a toss back to James. And Michael James bounces his way for a 3-yard pickup to the 34-yard line. And we check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, Mike Iupati has gone back to the locker room. When he came off the field, he was holding that right shoulder. We'll see after they evaluate it further what's going on with him, but in the locker room for the moment, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And that's Leonard Davis, the 11-year veteran, who takes that spot. And that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. So the halftime show, the Washington Redskins now very much in the playoff hunt in the NFC East. How about Kirk Cousins winning his first start with RG3 in street clothes, and Adrian Peterson another 200-yard plus performance against St. Louis. Shot of 30 Rock Toyota halftime show coming your way from that locale, and Bob Costa's here as well.
Haven't seen Kaepernick run yet in this one. Might be an interesting time for it. Already in field goal range.
3rd down and 8 from the 34-yard line. Kaepernick stepping up. Nice call. Great call. Inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Boy, you can feel it. You should be coaching.
Yeah, please. Anytime you want to try and bring some kind of stunt, you always open it up. They're going to bring Hightower around here and open up the gap to Kaepernick's right, and you could almost see that he was sort of looking for it. Just has a nice feel, and I tell you, this kid in the open field is really something. He's a sprinter.
Gain of 19. The ball is at the 15-yard line. Kaepernick, 6'4" and 230. Fakes the inside give. That buys a ton of time, and then the pass is incomplete. Randy Moss, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, covered by the rookie Dennard.
Pretty lucky here. Kaepernick really gets away with one. If you're going to make this throw out here, you've got to make it up over the top. Let the taller receiver, Randy Moss, make a play. Dennard almost came up with one of those drive stoppers and really should have on that one. Details of the throw sometime. Do you go line shot? Do you lob it up? A couple of times this drive, I thought he could have big plays, putting a little air under it.
2nd and 10 from the 15. Gore to the 11-yard line. 3rd and 6.
The other significance of this drive, though, is that you've basically taken away any of Tom Brady's opportunities to go the other way. Again, the pace of the game, they're taking the full shot clock, if you will, running it down, and Tom Brady's been on the sideline so long he's having to get warm again.
Well, they only have one timeout, used one before a 4th down play, used one on the failed challenge. And remember, the 49ers will also get the ball to begin the second half, so they're looking for back-to-back possessions. They're going to take this one all the way down and call a timeout with 25 seconds. 3rd and 6 when we come back to Foxborough. 49ers outgaining New England by a 2-1 margin. Have the ball for almost 17 minutes. This would be lowest scoring half for New England this season. Only 3 points for the league's #1 team in points per game. 3rd down and 6 now. 49ers have 2 timeouts at their disposal from the 11. And the ball is handed off to Gore. And Gore will make it a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. And the 49ers will take their second timeout right here. 1st and goal coming up.
That read option, such an interesting thing to watch. Going to look at Chandler Jones right here, but almost runs into Vernon Davis on the mesh point there.
Now 1st and goal. This is the 13th play of the drive. And Kaepernick will loft one for Moss, and he can't one-hand it, and a flag is thrown. That's Talib covering.
It had to be on Moss. I mean, Moss fully extended his arms there. That was a much better throw.
Pass interference offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
I don't even think Randy's going to argue that one. You get out there, you can get away with bent arm pushing, if that makes any sense at all. But once his arms go straight, you're going to get it on the other side. Talib said, "Oh, come on."
So does Harbaugh.
Yep, good call though.
1st down and goal. That moves the ball back to the 14-yard line. Moss comes back to the bench. Once 3 receivers to the left, and now Kaepernick's going to take off with it inside the 10 and out of bounds at the 3. So with 8 seconds, it's going to be 2nd down and goal. And the most important thing is they do have a timeout, and you now have Dennard down on the ground.
Remember this play that Alex Smith ran against the New Orleans Saints in the playoff game last year? Scored from about 25, 30 yards out. They came back to it again and almost got another one. Everybody out front.
Student body left. New England gets charged a timeout for the injured player. Chris, we've watched Kaepernick tonight. We've watched Russell Wilson in Seattle. We're going to see those guys next week. I mean, San Francisco against Seattle. We know about RG3. I mean, there are things like the Wildcat that come and go, but what about the new form of quarterback right now? How long is this going to last?
You know, it used to be the Wildcat, Ronnie Brown and Tebow, but these guys are throwers. They have the ability to run, but as we've seen tonight, Kaepernick is really a guy that is a thrower first and has made more big plays in the passing game than he has with the runs.
You think of the 49ers through the years, it goes back to Frankie Albert and Y.A. Tittle, and then John Brody and Steve Spurrier and Brody and Tittle. And remember, Montana had to hand it off to Young, and that was a little sloppy at the end too, but it all worked out.
It did, and you have to admire Harbaugh. I mean, everybody is under the belief that you don't lose your job because of injury, and that's no question. Alex Smith with a concussion, he came back and he was ready, but it's the potential of this guy. It's what he could be, not necessarily what he is now, but come playoff time, what could he be? And I think we're seeing a little bit of that tonight.
He's pretty good right now. He's on the road. He's leading 14-3 at New England, and he has a 2nd down and goal.
And a timeout to burn, so anything's a possibility here.
Moss wide right. Line up in that pistol. Ball is handed off to Gore, and now they'll have to take a timeout here and opt for a field goal to make it a 17-3 game. So, in a way, another kind of squandered opportunity for the 49ers, who've had a bunch, but will still go into the locker room with a lead.
Yeah, they did. The pass interference call on Moss ended up being a huge one. Big guy right up the middle. It's one thing about this offense is occasionally with guys like Frank Gore and LaMichael James, you'll see them occasionally hand that thing off and it goes like 80 yards right up the gut for a touchdown. LaMichael James did that a ton in college. Of course, all these coaches for San Francisco were part of the Stanford coaching staff, and they said, "The heck with that, we're going to draft him."
20-yard field goal attempt at the length of an extra point to make it a 14-point lead. Akers with Lee putting it down, and the kick is good, and that takes us to halftime with the score: the San Francisco 49ers 17, New England 3. Coming up next, we got a halftime show. First, these messages from your local NBC station.